You and I are going to have opportunities the rest of our life to be humbled. There are times when God's going to do it. I believe there are times when God says, you know what, you are getting a little too big for your britches. and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow things to happen in your life because I love you. God disciplines those he loves. Because I love you, I'm going to allow things to happen. And then there's sometimes I'm convinced that God has very little to do with it. It just, stuff happens, right? Stuff happens. You're humbled. Something happens. Maybe your kid. You're out at a social event or something. You're talking with other family, or whatever, and all of a sudden your kid says something that's like, "Oh, exit stage left." I mean, it's like, we have to leave now. Sorry. It's like, I can't believe you said that. If there's any parents here today, you've had that experience. I know you have. Your kids said, and just it wasn't like God allowed it. It's just your kids being a kid. That just happens. We have stuff that happens in our lives. It's just stuff that it humbles us. It just the way I had one of those experiences this week. If you get the weekly update, I shared just a little bit about how I haven't golfed for like over 3 years. The only reason I know that is because I know I haven't golfed since we had our youngest baby, Hayden, and so I knew I haven't golfed. And so this week, I didn't play golf. Golf is wallet emptying and very time-consuming, and so I didn't want to spend the money or the time, but I thought, I'm just going to go out and hit some golf balls. So I went out to a course which will remain nameless, and I had my bag. Okay, so I had my bag, and I walked to the front door, and I put my bag there, and I walk in the front door, which apparently no one uses, but I'll tell you more about that later. But so I walked in, and I just pleaded ignorance. Absolute ignorance. I've played golf at this place before. I'm not a big golfer. I used to be one of those, maybe a handful a year, and that was good enough for me. And I did take golf as a phys ed credit in college. Helped me get working on a degree there. But so anyhow, so I'm walking and I say, hey, I plead ignorance. I've never gone to the driving range. If you don't know what a driving range is, it's where you have this big long line and you put your golf ball here and you just hit it as far as you can, and it makes you feel really stupid because everyone else is going a lot longer than yours, and it's very humbling in itself. And so I decided to humble myself in that way. So anyhow, so I walk in, I say, I never, how do you get some range balls to hit out? And say, oh, well, you just pay for it. Here, it's $3. Okay, $3. There you go. And he hands me this little coin. I say, I gave you $3. I'm thinking, I gave you $3. He gives me this little coin. It's like, what do I do with this coin? He's like, go around the building. There's a machine. Put the coin in the machine. You can get your driving range balls. I was like, okay, great. So I walk out the front. Well, by this time I realized that I happened to choose the one time to come when there's like a huge league going on. I mean, there's like 30, 40 guys just showed up at the same time I did. And apparently I didn't get the memo about what you're supposed to dress like. I'm not even sure they did, but they all looked the same. They got their little Titleist hats on, and they got their plaid shorts on, looking really cool. They got their solid shirts with little polo type shirts tucked in, and they got their little golf shoes on, and they look like, now the problem is I showed up, but I did get some golf shoes about 5 or 6 years ago. They look brand new, barely used. And I had my khaki shorts, which are kind of droopy, and then I just had a striped shirt on. It sure wasn't a solid shirt, and I did have a hat on, but the problem is I can't wear the kind of hats that normal guys wear. You see, when you wear a regular baseball hat and you have a head this big, the hat's supposed to come down to here, like right above you, and it kind of comes up here, and so it's like, is that a yarmulke or what is that? When did they put a big C on a yarmulke? I mean, and so it doesn't look good. So I've graduated to this, and I'm sure my girls don't really care for it, but it works. So here I am. I'm already starting off pleading ignorance. I've got my baggy shorts on, which are kind of droopy down. I've got my striped shirt on, not a solid color. I got this hat on. Here's your coin, go around back. Put it in the machine, you can get your driving range balls. And so I went out the front, and suddenly I realized no one goes to this front door. Everyone goes around the back, and they put their bag back there or whatever they got, and then they go in through the back door. So I wasn't cool there either. So I go around the front, I go around the building, and then I'm faced with this situation. Because I'm looking at the machine, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got two thoughts. One thought is this. One thought is ice machine at the hotel. I mean, you go in your room, you've got this little thing, you put the thing in there, and then you hit the button and the ice goes in the little container, right? The other thing makes me think of like old-fashioned coffee machines in the hospital, where you'd put the change in and a cup would drop down, right? And then the coffee would come. And I'm thinking, okay, either vision number 1 or vision number 2 is right, because I'm not seeing anything here, though, to catch these golf balls. And it's not like you can look. I mean, the thing is like way down here. So you put your coin in here and the balls come out down here. And I'm looking around, I don't see anything. I think, okay, vision number 1 or vision number 2? I chose 2 and I chose the wrong one. I thought I'll put my coin in and the little thing will drop down and then all the golf balls, it'll be nice and neat. Wrong-o! Nah! I put my coin in, and just as I put my coin in, I noticed a group of about 5 guys come walking out of the clubhouse. And they were there to see it. Crash! As the golf balls did fall out, and they went everywhere. They're rolling down the cart path. They're going this way and that way, and I'm standing here. One of them's like, oh, you're supposed to have one of those baskets to catch it. Thanks, genius! I didn't say that, but I wanted to. That was my flesh. I walked in the clubhouse, and of course, the 3 guys that were workers there, they had the shirts like everybody else, but they had badges. I said, apparently I need something to catch these balls out here. Oh, yeah, he just went down there to grab some of those because they're all down at the driving range. I was like, oh, phooey on this. So I just went back out, assessed the situation, decided to humble myself, grabbed all the balls, and I just kind of started shoving them into here and shoving them into here. And I got all the range balls I could possibly get. I'm literally walking down the cart path, seeing these yellow range balls. That's got to be mine. I'm stuffing it in there. I'm not so sure it was God who humbled me this week. I think it might have just been my own stupidity, but vision number 2 was not the appropriate vision. Hey, here's the deal, though. This is what I want you to get. Life has a way of humbling you. It just does. What we want to learn today, and if you get nothing else out of this message today, this is what I want you to get. We need to choose to walk in humility. Walk humbly with your God. Humility is a choice. Don't stand around going through life. Don't keep going through life and just let God have to bring you to, if you will, a crisis situation to bring humility to you. Don't let life just bring humility to you. You make the choice. Old Testament, New Testament teaches this. Humbleness, humility is something we choose to walk in. Let's make the choice to walk in humility.